Unsurprisingly, we will start with the Bihar polls, where the opposition alliance has finally announced that Tejashree Yadav will be its CM candidate for the upcoming election. VIP chief Mukesh Sahani has been named the deputy CM face.
The lack of a CM face, would that dent in any way the prospects for an NDA government?
I think the Nitish Kumar factor is really the most critical factor in these elections. He has dominated the Bihar political landscape for 20 years. He's crafted this caste matrix whereby he has this loyal EBC vote bank.
When people say that don't get their caste calculations right, they say that something has happened, the caste matrix has not worked. But what they don't realize is that when they do those calculations, there is a section of captive voters that they look at, but don't look at within that caste the segment which is not captive voters of that political party, which is still a floating section.
The fact that they have put Mukesh Sahani at the high table as the deputy chief ministerial face of the MGB, I think is a huge. It is a huge signal to the EBCs that the RJD is trying to be more inclusive.
I made that government. Now I am to be the leader. Now this gasbag commentary for 10-15 minutes tests people's patience.
I think I like that both Anand and I uncharitably, like Anand is saying gasbag, I'm saying a grifter, but I think Arati was much more
kinder,
optimistic and kind.
One quick question to Anand.
Optimistic and just kinder.
I was just thinking it's been almost exactly a year since Sunil was last on Hafta, and we talked about same stubble burning, pollution, terrible air after Diwali, and it's just
I know.
so sad that we have to resurrect the same thing every year at the same time. And
there have been incidences where we have hosted international cricket teams, international under-19 football teams, even big marathon events have been held in Delhi. Though there is a bit of conversation which happens around that these events shouldn't be hosted in Delhi around that environment, but that has never really resulted into any concrete action on reducing pollution levels at source. The entire year since last year, that every day you guys talk about air quality at different places in Delhi and what needs to be done and all those things. But that continued dialogue, both in media, general public, as well as the policy circles, isn't happening. So we also need to break away from just talking about it when the Diwali happens or the stubble burning happens, or even if we talk about it, the kind of conversations we are having today, these kind of conversations are really missing.
Welcome to Chhota Hafta. Now, Chhota Hafta is but a small, chhota version of a complete weekly podcast, Newslaundry Hafta. The Newslaundry Hafta is where you get the week's news, what made the headlines, what didn't make the headlines, but the full version is available to subscribers only. And I don't mean YouTube subscribers, although YouTube subscribers are also very welcome, very, very grateful to you, but also to Newslaundry subscribers, the paying subscribers who pay to keep news free. So you can also become a paying subscriber by clicking the subscription link. Now, what do you get if you're a paying subscriber? You get access to all our paywall content, all interviews, podcasts, and importantly, you get access to a full unedited Hafta, where you not only get to hear the week's news, but you get to hear the Newslaundry editors' positions on matters. You get to see their biases, what are their prejudices. It's an exercise in transparency while also informing you, and we have a few quips and jokes and agreements and disagreements thrown in. So listen to the full Hafta, subscribe to Newslaundry, and pay to keep news free. Here we go.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. आई एम योर होस्ट मनीषा पांडे फॉर दिस वीक. अभिनंदन इज ऑफ अटेंडिंग टू सम important duties. We're reporting from a smoggy Delhi. And we shall be discussing pollution, our pet peeve now for 5 years. Every winter, come October, we start talking about pollution. Although, in Newslaundry's defense, we have had a campaign for a year now called Hawa Ka Hak, Fight to Breathe, where we've been tracking AQI, not just in Delhi, but across cities in India. We've been filing RTIs, looking at what measures governments are taking to improve air quality in the NCR region. We've done a lot of ground reporting, speaking to experts through the year, because we believe pollution is not something that happens just around Diwali. or around the Parali season. It's a year-long issue that needs to be tackled as such. So we shall get into all of that in a bit. But before that, let me introduce our guests to you. In-house, we have Anand, Vardhan.
Hello.
We have Jayashree.
Hello, hello.
And we have Arati, Jerath, senior journalist who's joining us from Delhi. Arati, you're also in Delhi?
Yes, I am.
Great. So before we get to the headlines, I just want to announce that we have a Bihar NL Sena up. Please contribute to it. We already have Srinivasan Jain in Bihar. He just interviewed Prashant Kishor last night at a very ungodly hour at, I think, 12 or something. So that interview should be out by the time this episode is out or by next week. He'll be there getting us interviews. Basant Kumar is there reporting on the ground, and Atul should be heading there next week on Tuesday. So we have 3 people covering Bihar elections on the ground. It costs money, resources, time and effort. So please support our NL Sena on Bihar elections. We also have a very special Diwali offer going on, and I shall read out the details of that offer because I should not be wrong about it. We have a 20% off on 3-month and 6-month joint subscriptions. That's a lot, 20% off. And 25% off on annual joint subscription. The offer is on till 31st of October. So grab your subscription soon. We have some very good long-form pieces that you can read with those subscriptions that you get. One is on Nikhil Kamath, and we have a very interesting one coming soon on a union minister. We also have that CJI interview that I think a lot of you have still not watched, Chandrachud's interview with Srinivasan Jain, so you can even watch that with your subscription. Get that subscription. It's cheap right now, and it's worth all your money. And in great news, Dahiya Rajendran, co-founder and editor-in-chief of the News Minute, our partner organization, has been nominated for Reporters Without Borders Impact Prize of the Year 2025. It's great company, and what better reason than this for you guys to support News Minute and Newslaundry. With that, we should get into the headlines, and then we have a lot to discuss on Bihar polls. But this week now, we've had the chief ministerial candidate announced, and there seems to be some activation around that. And there's a unified face, at least, when it comes to the CM. So what do you make of, is it too late in the day to put up this unified front?
This election is taking place against the backdrop of questions about his health and his future. The fact is that Nitish Kumar is not very visible in this campaign. I mean, I remember that campaign of 2010 when Nitish Kumar, went around in an auto rickshaw, which was such a novel thing to do and really appealed to the EBC vote, that has been his loyal supporter. This time he's hardly visible. And when he does make a public appearance, there's invariably, it's followed by some controversy because he says something which is not intelligible, or the most recent one where he was trying to garland this lady, but, sort of failed to do it. And the very fact that the BJP has not named him as the chief ministerial candidate raises questions about his future. Congress workers have been chafing and that they want more seats. I think Rahul Gandhi realizes that the Congress has to play second fiddle. So he's been kind of, keeping away from it. But at the same time, he has to keep his workers happy. So, he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah.
But this time, the Congress has settled for less seats. I mean, from 70, it's down to, I think, 55. See Prashant Kishor as a kind of Arvind Kejriwal in 2014. In 2014, Arvind Kejriwal created, with that anti-corruption movement and, those sort of fasts at Ramlila Maidan and all that, he managed to tarnish the reputation of the UPA government as a corrupt and, useless drifter government. And he actually created the desire for change. And the beneficiary was the BJP and Narendra Modi, because Narendra Modi, being the charismatic leader that he is, and the BJP and RSS, given the kind of organizational network that they have, they capitalized on that mood for change and won the election so decisively that, we had a single party majority government for the first time in 30 years. Now, I see Prashant Kishor as a catalyst for change. I think what he's really doing in Bihar is he's talking about change.
So, what sense did it make for our government to insist on green crackers? Why could the Supreme Court have just, done something better in its wisdom than allow for green crackers? And finally, this cracker issue, it gets politicized and there's a cultural angle to it and all that. But what does the science tell us on it?
So how do we imagine? And the years previous to it have also been evidence to the fact that the timings 8 to 10, which have been existing since at least 2021, have never been followed. Only green cracker bursting has never been followed. So how did we imagine that in the years when we have had the similar restrictions, and the year when we had a complete ban, if we couldn't implement
A complete ban.
that properly, how do we imagine to ensure the implementation this year? So whoever, either the government or the Supreme Court, whoever did it, whoever gave it a go-ahead, whoever pursued the other one to get a go-ahead, very clearly knew that none of these restrictions would be followed.
Again, there are a lot of conversations on should you be bursting firecrackers on Diwali? Is it fair or is it unfair? And the thing is, in a very deeply unequal society, I am very comfortable telling my fellow elites that they are assholes for creating pollution and noise, but I think it's very different when, as Anand is also saying, when you're doing it to somebody who's working class, whose life isn't full of the same sort of joys and indulgences that ours are. And if this is that time of year when they look at it as having fun and bursting crackers, and we are not in that position to lecture them because we travel by cars and planes. In the course of the year, I would exceed the environmental impact of 100 working class people who burst firecrackers on one single day. So, and I think a lot of people are also trying to say that this push for firecrackers is this reclamation of Hindu identity, but I think for a lot of people it's not. I wouldn't jump to the conclusion it's some kind of political act. I think it's just people celebrate and they burst firecrackers. Is it terrible? Yes, you should not burst firecrackers. Also, it's a terribly unsafe.
The moment you are inducing the clouds to rain at a particular location, you are depriving some other area from the impact that cloud cover and rain. So you are not even understanding the meteorological and climatological impacts of what you are doing. And like, will you rain all throughout winter, all across Delhi or Delhi NCR or Haryana and Punjab? What will you do? How resource intensive, economic intensive will that be? It's not at all a solution. Anything which doesn't tackle or reduce the emission at source, how is that a solution to air pollution?
बस मुफ्त में इतना ही मिलेगा. For the full uncut podcast, subscribe to Newslaundry and pay to keep news free. The best way to listen to the Hafta and indeed all our podcasts is through the Newslaundry app. You can download the app by clicking on the links given in the show notes. So do download our app and get the best podcast experience. And also pay for news and support a new news media ecosystem that Newslaundry is trying to encourage, where we are accountable to you because we run on contributions that you make. We don't take government ads, we don't take corporations ads, so that news serves the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Subscribe to Newslaundry, click on the link in the show notes below and proudly say, I pay to keep news free.